Welcome everybody to today's video. We will be tackling making a beautiful Scarecrow centerpiece out of a terracotta pot and saucer. So let's jump to it. Alright, so as always, gonna take and start off with painting some white gesso onto the bottom pot. Alright, we want to make sure that we get all the outside surfaces covered, all the little nooks and crannies. While that one dries, I'm going to go and start painting the saucer. Going to try and tackle it from two different directions here. Get a nice good coat on it. Right now I can only paint so much on that, so I'm going to bounce back over to the pot and finish up the bottom now that the surface I painted earlier is dry enough to touch. So you go all the way around it. And also do the bottom rim. Then gonna set that back off to the side and paint up the saucer again, making sure I cover up that spot that I was holding it by earlier, and make sure I get this all nice and covered. And as always, I will go back and put on a second coat just to make sure that it's all nice, well, and covered. Alright, now that's done. Gonna set that to the side, let it dry. And then on to the painting. So I'm going to take some khaki here and I'm going to start painting the main body. This nice, lovely light brown color. Now we're trying to make a scarecrow here, so try to make a nice even coat if possible. Of course, first coat always looks bad. That's why we always do at least 2 coats. Sometimes even 3 or 4. It really depends on the paint. Some paints just do not like to go down very well. And now I'm going to jump in with a darker Territorial Beige and paint the very bottom rim. Gonna do some nice even strokes, try not to have any kind of buildup of paint. Because then, you know, with these darker colors, buildup of paint really makes a really dark spot, which is really undesirable. Of course, we're going to go across the bottom rim again, because we want to make sure that that's all nice and covered. Alright, and we are going to go ahead and paint the top saucer, this Territorial Beige, as well. So a nice even coat, or at least attempt to. Alright, now that's done. These have had second coats. They're looking pretty good. When I do the clear coat later on, it will actually help cover up the little bit of inconsistency in the coat. Alright, now for the face. Gonna jump in here and start painting a orange nose. Try and get at least a somewhat even triangle. Right, and while I let the nose dry, I'm going to start doing the eyeballs. So here, try and do some oval eyes. Here, I'm trying my best to make sure these are even. And they are not. So I'm gonna go in here real quick and I'm gonna actually try and fix it. I'm gonna take this eye and just make it slightly bigger. And on the other one, I'm gonna make it slightly taller. That way they look mostly even. Then I'm gonna fill them in. All right, now I'm gonna take and put on some patches off to both sides just to add a little bit of character to it. I'm going to use a lighter color like Lite Mocha. That way it stands out a little bit. It's not overbearing, but it is noticeable. And of course, if you're doing this yourself, you can just kind of paint the patches however you want. Now I'm going to jump back to the eyes and I'm actually going to outline them in black. Slow and steady. For projects like this, you can choose whatever kind of eyes you like to do. You don't have to do these specific kind of eyes. This is just what I chose to do on this one. Thought it would fit well. And now I'm going to go in and paint the black part of the eyeballs. Gonna do it on both eyes. Get the shape. And then I'm gonna fill them in. Alright, now, you can't just have some plain old looking eyeballs, so I'm going to add a little bit of character and add some little eyelashes. Do a few at the top, a few on the bottom. Kind of just gives that little bit of extra detail to kind of spice it up a little bit. And of course, it makes it look a little more cuter. There we go. Now, of course, you know, scarecrows, we gotta have some stitching, so let's add that in there right now. Not too hard, just a bunch of little tiny lines. Gonna put them on the nose, and then we're gonna jump over and put them on the patches. Alright, now that that is done, I'm gonna go in and paint a squiggly face. And again, you can use whatever kind of design for a mouth you want to. I just went with this one because that's what I liked for this particular project. Once the line's done, I'm gonna go back in and add all the stitching in. And then the last thing I gotta do is paint on some pupils. Right, and when I am done with the pupils, I'm gonna take this outside and put on a clear coat. And now it is time to put the hair on. So I'm going to pop in here with a hot glue gun. I'm going to put down a little dab of hot glue, take some of this Raffia, and start sticking it on. I will say this is a mess to work with, but it gives it a very authentic Scarecrow look to it, so kind of makes it a little more worth it in the end. I'm just going to work it a little bit at a time. Stuff was really fighting me put it on there, but sometimes that's just how it goes. Right, now that the hair is done, I'm going to add some E6000 glue to the very top of it. My glue is almost out there, so I'm struggling a little bit trying to actually put it down. But I'm just going to put a ring of it around the very top of it. Alright. Now that that is done, I'm going to take the saucer, I'm going to stick it on top. I'm going to press it down and make sure that it's all lined up evenly with the outside. And now that it is dry, I'm going to take a look at it, mess with the hair a little bit, and I'm going to trim it up. Cut the stuff off from in front of the face, that way it's nice and visible. Don't really want all the little stragglers in there. And of course go around the back side and also trim a little bit of that up as well. Right, now that the trimming is done, the project is finished, and now onto the finishing shots. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support, please subscribe. And see you in the next one.